version of a 19.
Half angle formulas. The plus or minus that you see in the half angles, they're on your formula sheet. Those are not like plus or minus like you would when we do a square root of something already squared. You will choose which one to do. Tangent. When you look at the tangent formula, there are two separate formulas. You do not do both of them. You pick which one you want to use. They turn out to be the same thing. And I always tell students, let's pick the correct formula based on whether sine or cosine in the denominator is easy to work with. In other words, I'm not going to put a fraction on down in the denominator. Okay? So, find the exact value of the cosine of 165. Where is 165 located? Quadrant 2. Is cosine positive or negative in quadrant 2?
Negative.
Cosine is negative. So when you go to do the formula, you're going to do cosine of 330 divided by 2. What is 330 divided by 2? 165. So I have changed the way it looks, but I did not change the value of that angle, right? It still is 165 there. But you guys told me then that it's negative there. So when I go to pick my formula, I'm going to do the negative of the square root. That's how I determine the negative. Where is, or what should cosine 165 be? Positive or negative? It should be negative. So I do 1 plus cosine of the angle that's on top divided by 2. So notice, whatever angle you put on top is what's used in the formula. What is the cosine of 330? It's a root 3 over 2. Cosine of 330 is positive root 3 over 2. So that's what we're left with. Now we have to simplify. We're going to do a little trick again with 2's. I'm going to multiply under the radical. I'm going to take that fraction that's under the radical and multiply it by 2 over 2. So what I end up with is negative square root of 2 plus root 3 all over 4. So the 2 goes to this fraction here, and it's going to go to the 1, and it's going to go to the 2 there. Why did I do that? Because up there in blue, I have the square root of 2 in the denominator. Now, what you can look at is we have 2 plus the square root of 3 all over the square root of 4. When you look at a fraction under a radical, you can put the radical on the top of it and on the bottom. So what's the square root of 4 on the bottom? 2. Now, I don't have the radical on the bottom. That's what this trick right here helped us do. Create a 4 on the bottom, and I can take the square root of the denominator much easier. For sine of 105, is sine positive or negative when you're talking about 105? That's my final answer. Because it's in the second quadrant, so sine's positive up on top. Look at the formula up above. 105 would be 210 divided by 2. So up above, I should pick the positive. You do not need to write it, but I'm going to just so you know what we're doing. Positive. The weird thing is, when you look at the half angle for sine, it uses a cosine in its formula, right? So you're going to do 1 minus the cosine of 210 all over 2. What is cosine of 210?
Or negative square root of 3 over 2. Negative 3 over 2.
Now, some of you, when you write that down, you might do the double negative right away and just write 1 plus root 3 over 2 again, right? Because it's minus a negative, so I get it. But we're going to do our little 2 over 2 trick. Why am I doing that 2 over 2 trick? Because 2 times this 2 will give me 4. And what's the square root of 4?
2.
So what I'm left with is 2 plus root 3 on top, all over 2 on the bottom. And that's it. Now, those are definitely problems. If you go to check them on a calculator, I would start with the square root of 3. Then I would take 2 plus my answer. Then I'd square root my answer. Then I divide by 2, get the decimal, go to degree mode, see what the sign of 105 is as a decimal, and you can check it out.